Hey, today is a soothing hip releasing practice. We emphasize our external hip flexors. You're going to feel really let go, release. It's a beautiful practice. It's slow, it's methodical, and it's really powerful. So you'll want to have with you 2 yoga blocks, maybe a yoga strap, and a blanket. Let's get started. Hey, so we're going to begin today's practice seated, and I'd like you to sit on a blanket. Hi, Bachi. You're going to sit with me. And we'll begin with crisscross applesauce or Sukhasana. Have your left leg out further than your right. And you can play with how tight you want your legs. You can pull them in really tight. You can leave them so that the ankles are not underneath your knees. So just see what feels right for you. And then left leg is further out than the right. Right one is in. Inhale, lift both arms up. And then as you exhale, drop your hands forward and drop your head down. And breathe. What you're looking for is, where is the sensation? And when it feels like, all right, that's a decent level of sensation, then just stay there. If you start to get the green light to move forward a little bit more to increase the stretch, you certainly can. And the simplest way to do that is to walk your hands forward. As you do that, though, pull your lower lumbar and your sacrum in. So as if you're gently pressing yourself forward. As if you can even put your hand on your low back and just on your sacrum and just gently press yourself forward. And you'll notice what that does is it moves you onto the front part of your sitting bones. This is healthy for the ligaments of the low back as you're releasing the external hip flexors. Your body melt into it. So today's class is really a lot of releasing. Sometimes our classes have a lot of stretch component, a lot of lengthening and also strengthening, but today is more about release and lengthen. But you're looking for that dropping in. One more full breath here. And as you exhale, walk your hands back towards you, coming up upright, and then move yourself over to the right side of your mat. So you're going to move your left hand further away from your left foot. You're moving it all the way to the right. Your right hand can follow suit right next to the left, or you can bend your right elbow and place your right hand next to you, closer to the right thigh. So, again, it's about finding these gradations that work for your body today. Check in. Where's this lengthening? Where do you feel this for you? Is it a stretch through the upper back? Is it a release through the hips still? So you might feel this most profoundly in the lower left hip and back. You might also feel it in the upper left back. It kind of depends on where your body's holding tension or the activities that you've been recently involved in. Relax your neck, soften your breathing. And then slowly come back through center. Same action, we're just reaching forward maybe a little bit more. This is so good, especially if you're doing a lot of activity. This is a beautiful thank you note to your outer hips. Take another full breath. Exhale the breath. Hands walk back towards you. Place them behind you now. You're on tented fingers. You can keep your legs just where they are. Open up through your chest. Big breath in. And a long breath. Let it go. Good. Release it. And we're going to swap legs. So now your left leg is in close. Your right leg is out further. If you did a tight crisscross on the other side, then do that here. If your legs are a little more generously opened, do that here. So you want to keep consistency if possible. And then both arms up, inhale. Exhale, reach forward. And then dropping your head. Notice if you're getting a green light. Just because you get a green light doesn't mean you have to take the green. But see what works for you on any day, on any moment, any pose. So we hand back the power of the body baton to ourselves. Breathing here, please. Full breath. Feel your abdomen rise and expand. Notice where the release is. Thinking about the sort of putty of your external hips. Even if they feel tight, this is a beautiful way to help them let go. Relaxing through your forehead. Three more breaths. Nice, and then walk your hands back. Very good. And then we'll bring them over to the left side of the room. So you're walking your right hand especially past the right foot, all the way to the left. Keep nudging down on the right outer hip and the right thigh. Sometimes if it's tight, it'll want to pop up and go along with us to the left, but we want to root it down. It's our leverage point, and breathe. Letting all the muscles and the nerves and the ligaments to just settle and rest. Dropping your head and breathe. And then walking back through center. Hands reach forward. Notice if there's a little more space for you or if the stretch has changed from where it began. Nice, and then walk your hands back. Good, legs long out in front of you here, and hands behind you, tented fingers, open up through your chest. So there's this uplift, so powerful. Imagine your shoulders are pressing, shoulder blades are pressing forward, and your legs are lengthening long. One more full breath, inhale. Stay for the exhale, continue to elevate your chest. Really nice. And then we'll bend both knees and let's come onto our backs. Take a blanket or pillow with you. You can use it underneath the back of your head. And we're going to lie back down. I'm going to show you two options. One is a classic supine figure four. You've crossed your right ankle past your left. You can either interlace your hands around the back of your left hamstring or you can use a yoga strap. If you want the next level up, you're going to do Gomukhasana on your back. So there you'd cross your right knee on top of the left as if you were seated in a chair and you had, you wanted to cross your legs. So that's what we're going to do on our backs. You can hold on to your shins here, and then the next level up is to hold on to your feet. If you have your feet draw them slightly down towards your armpits. So that's moving down towards the floor and towards the top of the mat. And we'll breathe here. So you're either in the figure 4 or the Gomukhasana, and we're breathing. Letting your shoulders relax. Flexing your toes, whatever option you chose. Good, and we've got 5 more breaths here. Now if you want to take the next level up in Gomukhasana with your hands on your feet, you're drawing your feet towards your armpits as we had, but now you're going to also draw them away from one another. So you're moving your feet to the opposite ends of the room. Very gentle, nothing forced. Take one more big breath. And exhale. We'll release that. Both feet are on the floor. Knees are bent. Arms are out alongside you. Full breath in. And exhale. Let the breath go. And then we'll go to the other side. So you could do figure 4 again, drawing your legs towards you. You could do the Gomukhasana, either holding on to your legs or shins or holding on to your feet. And then once you're in there, if you have your feet, go ahead and draw them a little closer to your armpits. Relax your shoulders down the mat. And just let the pose go in and do its magic. Keep your consciousness wedded to the sensations in your body, the intention for ease and release and peace internally as you create more spaciousness within your own skin. Relaxing through your forehead. And for the last 5 breaths, you can stay just where you are. If you have your feet and you want to go up the next level, draw them away from one another. But make sure your shoulders stay relaxed. So the next level up doesn't have to be strain. It can actually be a little more ease. Just with a little emphasis, that's all. Relaxing through your jaw. And then release it. Knees come into your chest, sway side to side. Going back and forth, back and forth. And then we'll cross over our ankles, come up to seated. So you can either rock up to seated or you can tip to one side and press yourself up. And then we'll move it back into a high plank and then a downward facing dog. Full breath in. Exhale the breath out. 2 more breaths here. So you can feel what we're doing. We're stretching the back of our legs. We're relaxing through our shoulders and our neck. We're reclaiming this breath. One more here, inhale. Staying for the exhale. Then stepping the right foot forward, coming into pigeon on the right side. So here you're lining up your right knee with your right wrist on that longitude, and then your left wrist and your right foot lining up on that line. And your right shin is going to tip down a little bit. This is fine. Walk your left leg in and then sit back through the right hip. If your right hip is really elevated here, you can pop a blanket underneath the right hip. I'd prefer a blanket to a block since we're doing home practice, because it really gives you a little more ease, a little more comfort. And then you can stay up here, hands are on the floor, or you could put blocks underneath your hands. Elbows are straight. You can draw yourself back down so that your elbows are bent and your forearms are on the floor. And some of you might even go further still, dropping your forehead to the back of your hands. Feel into the stretch, allowing your body to dictate how far you go, how this pose can really nourish you, because it's a release, a deep release of the hips. When we lengthen our chest forward, we give our body a chance to breathe into the pose. And just like our first set of poses, we want that putty, that softness, almost like clay, our hips dropping down and giving back to us. Remembering that when our hips release like this, the jaw will want to clench. This is okay. It's just how the system is designed to protect us. So knowing that, see if your jaw is willing to release as your hips let go, letting your jaw and your hips know this is safe. You are a safe space. Three more breaths here. And then walking your hands back and up. If your elbows are already unbent, then stay there. If your elbows were bent, we're going to unbend them, open through the chest, releasing any of the tension. And then roll over your back toes, coming into a downward facing dog. Breath comes in. Breath goes out. Heels are slightly away from one another. Inhale. And releasing your breath. We'll step forward now and bring your left knee into pigeon. So a same action, just on the opposite side. Your left wrist lining up with your left knee. Your right wrist lining up with your left foot. Right leg long behind you. Come down to what feels good for you. And then drawing back with the top and the side of your left hip, as if the left thigh was externally rotating. That's the sort of emphasis here, you guys, but make it feel right for you. Releasing any auxiliary muscles that might want to tense, like your neck and the back of your head, shoulders. Releasing all of this as your hip lets go. Feel your own breath as it breathes you. More and more big breath here. Letting the breath go, and then walking your hands underneath you, opening up through the chest, lengthening your right leg long behind you. Good, and then sweeping your back leg around to the front. We're going to come back up. We're going to come up now into pyramid pose to lengthen out the back of our legs, which can feel really good, especially after doing those longer holds in the external or piriformis outer hip stretch. So take your right foot, you'll want 2 blocks tallest setting. Take your right foot straight in front of you. Left heel is angled so that it's almost like a warrior 1 type foot, and your feet are about 3 to 4 feet away from one another. Now I'm showing here hip width distance, but if your body needs more space, then just walk that right foot out to the right more. So there's a lot of space for us to explore and to make the poses work for us. Draw back with the top of the right hip, lengthen your spine forward, and see, is this enough? Like, this is pretty powerful. You may feel this is a deep stretch in the back of the right leg. If you would like more, if your body is asking for more stretch, more lengthening, bend your elbows towards you. Notice that you can still keep your spine long, so we're not rounding down into it in this particular variation. We're keeping our spinal column long here, so the pose not only can counterbalance some of the rounding in the forward fold of our pigeon pose, but it's actually also counterbalancing through the external hip flexor. So feel for that. Make a decision about what works for you, and honor that. Keep drawing back with the top of your right thigh, lengthening spine so it's nice and long, and breathe here. Just 3 more breaths. Good, and then coming halfway up, if you're not already, bend into your right knee, both feet, top of the mat. Inhale, arms. We rise. Inhale, lengthening upward. And then forward fold. Hands can come to blocks. And we'll keep the left foot forward. Draw your right foot back for pyramid pose on the left side. Finding your footing, finding what works for your body, drawing back with the top of your right thigh, left thigh, and pressing into the outer seam of your right foot. Your left toes point straight forward, so they're looking directly at the top of the left, at the top of the short part of the mat there. So they're not out to the side or into the middle. They're going nice and symmetrical. That's going to give us the best opportunity to release through the back of the leg in a healthy way. Full breath in, and then as you like, you can bend elbows if you haven't already to come into a deeper pose, or stay with elbows unbent. Such a powerful way to release tension in our bodies. And also it increases our flexibility as we hold these poses a little longer. 3 more breaths here. Good, and then coming up, both feet, top of the mat. Inhale, both arms rise. Breath in. Exhale, we stand in Tadasana, hands down alongside you. Just breathing here. Inhale. And exhale. Very nice. We'll step that right foot forward, coming into a low lunge, drawing the left knee to the floor. If you like, you can pad the your left knee with a blanket or roll your mat over. Walking your right foot out to the right, all the way out so it's kind of mat width. So options. One is keeping your hands on blocks, drawing your hips forward this way. So this is fabulous, and you can absolutely work there. You can come down a little lower if you like, on blocks or off of blocks, drawing your elbows onto the blocks. So you'll notice that the pose will change for you. So when you get closer to the earth, it's going to feel more into your hips, like more of a release. If you're up on the blocks, it's more of a stretch into the left hip flexor, a release into the right, and an openness through the chest. So for my body today, this is the pose that feels right, but it's about listening to what your body's communicating and offering that. We did a lot for our external hip flexors. This is just a nod to thank our internal hip flexors, which can get pretty tight too. So here we go, 5 more breaths. Continue to open through your chest and breathe smoothly. And then roll over your back toes back into that low lunge, and we'll swap. So you can bring the left foot forward, draw your right leg straight back. Walk your left foot out to the left, blocks are on the inside of the left foot, gently placing your right knee to the floor. And again, making the decision to stay up all the way or to bend your elbows and to come closer to the earth. Nice, staying with it now, breathing. Letting your breath be the biggest part of the equation, soothed by the sound of our own breathing. Letting the pelvis drop forward so your hips are moving towards the front of the mat to accentuate the release. If it's too much, you can always draw them back. Nice, and then rolling over your back toes, stepping forward, top of the mat, soft knees, and then bring yourself up to standing with your knees extended, reaching forward and up, and then a forward fold. 2 breath here, leaning forward into it. You can, if your knees are unbent, go ahead and engage your quadriceps. And if your knees are bent, you can release forward a little bit more. And then step back into a downward dog. You can stay in downward dog for these last few breaths or come to a high plank, low plank, elbows are in. Walk your toes straight back. Upward dog, really shining your chest up and open. And then rolling over your toes, downward facing dog. Big breath in. And exhale, the breath is out. Very good. Come onto your knees. Take your blocks with you. We're going to move into a Shavasana that uses blocks at the lowest setting underneath our hamstrings, the back of our legs, close to the knees. You can have the back of your knees on the blocks a little bit, and we'll just rest here. And palms, they spin, so they face the ceiling, and you're letting your body relax. Beautiful hip releasing practice, lower body energized, yet relaxed. This is how we want our consciousness as well. Be attentive and open and relax. If your body would like to rest longer, please do. Otherwise, bending your knees, placing your feet on the floor or blocks, and then tip over to one side, pressing the earth up with your hand. Coming to seated and namaste. Thank you so much for practicing. I'll see you next time. Hey, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's practice. If you did, please make sure you subscribe, hit the alarm button so that you get messages when I make new videos, and tell those you love who might also benefit from Dawn Davis Yoga. Namaste.